The local economy is now set to take a huge hit to its tourism industry this year. Ukraine's military planted mines along the coast of the southwestern port city in case of a Russian amphibious assault, cordoning off the beaches to ensure civilians don't get hurt. Military spokeswoman for the region, Natalia Humanek, says the measures are a necessary sacrifice to aid the war effort.
We realise that tourism and the recreational business are an important element for the economy, but we also realise that if we don't hold the defence of our region, there will be no economy. So we try to find a maximum compromise to give business a possibility to function without hurting the economy.
No foreigners are arriving on Odessa's beaches for a holiday, leaving just internally displaced people, aid workers and journalists. All Group's tourism office owner, Alexander Babich, says he works for free in a display of charity and gratitude.
Tourism, you understand, is not only about street tours. It's hotels, restaurants, souvenirs, all kinds of beach services. It's things related to the cultural sector. Theatres are actively visited during the summer season, different concerts. It was very big money. I don't know how the city economy will do without them.
Some residents
Finland and Sweden, both aspiring to join the alliance.
I'm feeling really prepared. I mean, we have made a big deployment on Gotland, and we will defend Gotland. It's a really hard task to take a defended island.
As part of the drill, forces performed an airdrop and an amphibious landing on Gotland. The annual Baltops naval exercise is not held in response to any specific threat, but the military alliance said that with both Sweden and Finland participating, NATO is seizing the chance in an unpredictable world to enhance its joint force resilience and strength. Finland and Sweden have participated in the Baltops naval drills since the mid-1990s. This year marks Sweden's Navy's 500th anniversary.
What is important strategically from my perspective, is the ability to work with Sweden, to work with Finland, to work with the 14 other nations that are here, understanding how to work together so that whatever the crisis is, whether it's a weather-related crisis, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's something that an adversary does, it's important that we don't have to build that trust after the crisis has happened. We know how to work together beforehand.
With a population of 58,000, Gotland has long been a prized strategic asset in the Baltic Sea. It first housed an infantry regiment in 1886. It was dismantled in 2005 but re-established in 2018 amid increased Russian military operations in the region following the country's annexation of Crimea in 2014. There are now around 400 Swedish soldiers on the island. Over the past years, Moscow has repeatedly warned Helsinki and Stockholm against joining NATO and warned of retaliatory measures if they did. The drill is set to complete in the German port of Kiel on Friday. Hedi Aitken, NTD News.
Had a low-level presence in the Maldives since 2004, when a U.S. mission opened there. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo visited the nation during the Trump administration. Liu told the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee the matter is urgent, and he said the administration is looking to open the embassy as soon as possible. A graphic video has spread like wildfire on Chinese social media. A woman was brutally attacked while dining in a restaurant simply because she rejected a man's advances. Many
and they're using hand tools and water hoses to put the fire out where it's at. In some places, we're bringing in bulldozers where it's too hot to get people. We're bringing in bulldozers, and in some places, we're actually using fire to fight fire.
And we go a little further north where they have the opposite problem. Massive floodwaters ravaged Yellowstone National Park and nearby communities yesterday. All entrances to the park were closed due to the deluge caused by heavy rains combining with melting snowpack. Park officials ushered tourists out of the most affected areas. There were no immediate reports of injuries, but dozens of stranded campers had to be rescued. Numerous roads and bridges were also washed out. Some of the worst damage happened in the northern part of the park in southern Montana. Flooding there cut off road access to Gardner, Montana, just outside Yellowstone's busy north entrance, thereby isolating the town of about 900 people. And 4 people who were participating in an annual marine race from Washington to Alaska had to be rescued by the Coast Guard when their sailboats capsized. 3 contestants were hoisted out of the water by the U.S. Coast Guard, and 1 other was rescued by a boat operated by race organizers. All 4 were taken to the hospital showing signs of hypothermia. Event organizers said that the occupants on 7 boats had dropped out of the race by 1 p.m. yesterday because of rough waters across the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Those remaining in the race took shelter on nearby islands or returned to land. And one state's teachers could soon be packing, and we're not just talking about lunch. Ohio school districts could begin arming employees as soon as this fall under a bill signed into law Monday. Under the new law, 24 hours of training is required before an employee can go to school armed. After that, 8 hours of annual training is also mandated, but schools can provide additional training if they decide to do so. Before signing the bill, Republican Governor Mike DeWine outlined several other school safety measures that he and lawmakers have promoted.
It does not require any school in the state of Ohio to arm teachers or their staff members. Schools are not required to do this. And we've also already seen schools that have made that decision not to do it. We've seen other schools that have made the decision to do it, and we've seen a lot of schools that have not announced anything. But there's no requirement to do that. Every school will make its own decision.
More questions than answers. One question that seemed to have been missing on the questionnaire: sexual orientation and gender identity. And now some individuals are feeling left out. Among LGBTQ people, the census form only asked about same-sex couples living together. But this could soon change, recognizing the difficulty it is to open up and reveal information many are sensitive to. The U.S. Census Bureau is requesting millions of dollars to study how best to ask about sexual orientation and gender identity, because those results could provide more accurate information. Now, this comes as the U.S. passport now offers an X in addition to M for male and F for female for non-binary individuals. The Bureau is
Rising a village. Now, perhaps in a smaller context, we can understand why the Bible actually says there are times when you gotta send that Nabal out of the camp. Why? Think smaller than America. We can absorb an awful lot of naughty teenagers, but in a much tighter context, one troubled teen is big trouble for the entire